I had no idea you were coming on. I just got a message through WhatsApp from Cater saying, "Are you logging in today?" And I'm like, "What? I'm at work under coating doors. What you on about?" It's like all of
I
a
know.
sudden you popped up.
Well, I usually what I was doing, I was going on Streamlabs while I was walking the dogs and having just a little chin wag, to myself,
Yeah,
to the people,
yeah,
and I couldn't get on because of the last one. I think I got struck off. So Kate passed me I got the password, and I
yeah,
thought I'd just promote the raffle a bit and talk
yeah.
about our show last night because it was great.
Oh, I'm
And
glad you enjoyed it. So did I. It was worth it. I don't think people probably, maybe it was my fault explaining it because we were coming from a position of 2018, wasn't we? So
yeah,
to actually explain that and get that across to people why we were going back to go forward, I think eventually
yeah.
people got it. You know what I mean? And there's more to come, guys. There's going to be more streams following up on that. We've not even touched the surface on it, have we? Really, Sharon?
I know it's like a mini series, isn't it? It's going to be
Yeah.
good feedback. I spoke to Michael after the show, and he was saying that it was really, even though he knows mostly, like he knows most about me, but he still found it interesting. Which, if somebody that already knows your story finds it interesting, then it's got to be a good thing, hasn't it?
Without a doubt, Sharon. To be fair, the reason why it was so attractive to me to talk about it, there's so many different facets that run off that incident, where we're at, being an activist, what it actually means, what an activist goes through, the feelings they may encounter, and almost to probably allay people's fears that, if you come up against bumps in the road being an activist, no matter what direction, even if it's from people you've known and respected, don't worry, keep fighting and keep being yourself, keep being honest, because these things will happen. And I was trying to pose it in a way that, I didn't expect all these little fundamental turbulent times to happen during all this, but they did. And in many ways, it's made me a better character. And with the likes of yourself, just meeting people along the way, it's just very rewarding, and you do take something positive from that to move forward.
Yeah, and it's don't be a victim. Don't let anybody victimize you. Don't let anybody bully you. It's your beliefs are your beliefs, whatever they are. And as long as you're not causing loss, harm, or injury to anybody in my world, then go about your business. It's but stand true to yourself and don't let anybody bully you into thinking that you should think something else just to go along with the narrative, because we all know where the narrative comes from. And so it's having the confidence to stand true to yourself and seem like a crazy person. I've gone through all that over the last however many years. I was into astrology in my 20s, so I used to talk about astrology a lot, and I still do, and the tarot and things like that. And you go beyond belief to find your beliefs, and you believe what sits right with you and what resonates with you. So it's like giving people the encouragement, no matter what you go through on this journey, as long as you're true to yourself, you've got no fear. You don't need to fear.
Perfect.
When you're living in fear, you become weak and vulnerable and easily manipulated. And if you turn that TV off, you'd be surprised at the world that opens up to you.
Yeah.
Because it is a form of hypnosis. And so
breaking the chain, isn't it, Sharon?
Absolutely. Everybody comes in and it's a distraction, and they've got to look up and see where those distractions came from and the reasons why. I mean, I say to people about the TV, nobody was allowed credit back in the day. You could only get credit if you were well off, if you were in the high bracket anyway. And all of a sudden, when they want everybody to have a TV, they give people credit. They give them TVs with a money slot in the back. You can pay.
Remember them days? Remember them? I had one of them. Oh,
I
yeah.
knew
Man.
people that could break into them.
Yeah, we did. I mean, to be fair, we were young and we'd put money in the TV. And let me tell you, anyone who's had one of them TVs will know that it was an expensive rip-off because the price per minute that you had to put in, you didn't get an all days viewing without having to constantly pump money in it. And there was nothing worse than knowing you can't even do a basic thing like TV without having to keep putting money in it. And the times we ran out of cash because it was on the dole, we were all in a situation where we wasn't earning money. But then we found out how to open the back of the coin meter. So we used to take the coins out and then replace them by the time the man comes to collect the money. But this reminds me of the old insurance days when they used to knock on and the club insurance and all that kind of stuff.
Provi loans. Get Provi loans and pay 150% interest on it. And my mum did it for Christmas. Every year she got a Provi loan to get us stuff, and it was terrible. She'd pay all year for us just to have a little bit of something at Christmas, you know. And it's like the pressure that people are put under. But the reason that they allowed you to have credit to get a TV was because we're 50 years behind their technology by the time they give it to us. And so when they decided everyone should have a TV in the house, they made it accessible to them because that was the way they were going to manipulate. They used propaganda through the newspapers when in the Hitler days, but TV was going to reach more people, and they had to have one in every house in order to do that, to distract them from what's going on in the outside world and to also manipulate their thoughts and get them to consumerism.
Without a doubt. They live, Sharon. They live. Consume, obey.
Yes. So the sooner people, I mean, people have TVs in every room now, you know, and it's like, turn the TVs off.
This is also innocent. This incremental climb was also innocent. The crazy thing is, Sharon, when you get to a situation where you're a working class person that now has maybe got TV and satellite in all the rooms, you know, your children has got the facility now to have a satellite within their own room, you actually think to yourself, we're doing okay here because we're providing something that probably someone with our wage bracket shouldn't be enjoying, if that makes any sense. It's like they're buying into a level of affluence that I never remember as a kid. There was never 3 or 4 tellies. There was literally 1 telly in the main room. The crazy thing is now, because of that falseness of you feeling that you're affluent, you're actually inviting something nefarious into your house that's totally going to change the dynamics of your family and the way that they are thinking from now and evermore. And that's one thing that none of us really knew. It's all under the guise of entertainment, light-hearted, music, but there's so much political crap in it. Hey, up, where's she gone? Shannon's left there. Oh, man. What's she done?
She should be back.
Hi, Kate. What go on in there? Where's Sharon gone?
She should be back. I didn't see her drop out. I'll give her a ring now. Won't be a sec.
No worries. I'll just carry on undercoating. So I hope you're all right, guys, whoever's in. I can't see any chat, so I'm not sure how many people are on. I hope you enjoyed the show last night. If you didn't watch it, there was a stream that Sharon and I conducted on childrensmatter.news named Journey So Far. Give it a watch.
Phil, I'm back.
Yeah, you're back.
Sorry, I got a phone call, and when I get a phone call, it mutes my volume, and I can't hear what you're saying. So then I got another phone call, and I had to go out to come back in. So, yeah, sorry about that.
All right. You're a popular lady. There's nothing wrong with that. I can't criticise that, can I, Sharon?
You should be watching live, then I'd know, wouldn't they?
Well, you know what I mean? Yeah, definitely. Looks like people are not doing what they're supposed to be doing here, Sharon.
Well, I suppose it is Monday, isn't it? People don't work like yourself.
I know.
We've not all lost our incomes through this being an enemy of the state, thankfully.
Wow.
But then it does give you the freedom to walk the dogs.
Well, yeah. You know, I seen while you were talking before and heard it. It's brilliant. You know, with it being a nice day and you're talking about, you see the joys in life rather than, you know, walk around with your head down. And that's really important in today's society. I mean, Sharon, when you're walking around there, how many people do you see literally walking when they look like they're not really paying attention to what's going around them? Spatial awareness is not even a thing. And you could
Yeah.
actually argue that they look quite sad with the facial features, you know, maybe not looking good or whatnot. I see that on the rise more than more. I don't know about you on where you're living, but I see it on the rise where I am, and every time I step outside the house.
I mean, I avoid the towns as much as possible. I hate shopping. I mean, I didn't like shopping before, but now I just avoid it as much as possible. And I'd always opt to walk out somewhere like this than be in a town. And you know, even when it first started with the lockdowns and things, and I was walking in the forest, and people are stepping aside, you know, and I just think it's such a shame that get off that you. It's just such a shame that people are losing that connection with each other and fearful of being in somebody's space. And I mean, if you're giving off a good energy, you want to invite people into your space because you want them to share that energy. And you know, that 6 feet energy field that we give off, that heart energy, they're telling you to avoid.
You know what,
Then
Sharon? You've nailed that. You've nailed it. How many times have you been somewhere and you might crack into a conversation with someone you don't know before, and they're giving off an energy? It might be that they're nervous. It might be socially they feel awkward. There could be one of many different reasons. But what I'm saying is, without them knowing, they're giving off an energy that's telling you exactly what situation they're in. And it's like they don't realize that when they're walking around. So flipping it to what you were saying about appreciating the joys in life. If anyone's going to walk around and see our Sharon walking the dog, you're not going to see a lady that's miserable, that's kind of looking down and worried about all the different concerns that's going on right now. You're looking at someone that's elevating above it. Now, you're going to give off, like you said before, because of that, a different frequency.
Yeah.
And some people might not even understand it because they're like, misery loves company. I feel like shit, so why aren't you? You know what I mean?
And I think, you know, walking in the forest, even if you are feeling down when you go in there, by the time you come out, if you walk long enough, you'll come out of that forest feeling refreshed because you think it's thinking time. And Cara, come here. It just gives you that space to think, and you get an exercise and you get air in your lungs, and any opportunity to feel free is all right with me. Dancing at the weekend, you know, I couldn't care if people are laughing at me, smiling at me, getting the joy from whatever, but people were coming up and being really positive with me and liking my vibe, really, because I guess I give off the vibe that I really don't care what you think. I'm enjoying myself, and if you find something wrong with that, then you need to take a step back.
Exactly, Sharon. What you're doing there is showing people that there's a different way of being. You know what I mean? And same again, some people may not get it because they're in a kind of a bit of a schism vibrationally because of maybe various issues that's going on. So it's like they can't see how someone, or some maybe like that, can't see why you're so positive, why. But it's imperative, like you say, that if you do that, you will feel better and you start to project to other people a betterness about them. So who knows, with a slight little 5-minute engagement with someone who's in a vibrational state like yourself, you can't really legislate how good that's going to be for that individual that's picked up that signal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The day that you're going to give someone having a nice friendly chat rather than just looking away and not being asked, that's what it's about.
Yeah. And I'd rather leave people with a smile on the face than frown. So, you know, it's up to you how you approach people. And even if they're disrespectful. That doesn't mean that you have to then become disrespectful.
Yeah.
You can respect yourself enough to keep your head up. And so, you know, when you understand the energies and you can see that people are in their own energy for whatever reasons, and you never know those reasons. People don't know themselves well enough to judge themselves, let alone anybody else judge them. You know, I don't know myself well enough to judge what sort of person I am, but people tell you who they think you are. And if you're giving off a good energy, then you build on that. We all go through down days, and people deal with that differently. But you have to reach out to people as much as, I mean, I was stubborn and I was so independent. I do this on my own, you know. But when I ended up in a situation with no job, no income, house mortgage to pay, car finance, and all of that sort of business, I just gave into it. I surrendered to it, and I said, if I have to live on the streets for what I believe in, so be it. And when Keith came along and offered me a hand, I took it gratefully, because it wasn't a time to be stubborn, and it wasn't a time to cut my nose off to spite my face. I needed to have a steady base, and I didn't want to lose my family home. You know, like I say, I grew up in that house. Not all good memories, I'm sure, but not many good memories. Well, there's a few now, reflecting, but lessons and blessings. I see my life has been a series of events that have led me to be this person today, to stand up for people that can't stand up for themselves. And I've always felt like that. I've always wanted to fight for the underdog. I've always, because of my poor background, humble beginnings, they say, I have an empathy for and a compassion for the people that struggle on the poverty line, because they're entrenched in misery a lot of the time, hand to mouth. What do I pay? How do I feed the kids? Living in constant stress, but that's how the government have set it up, so that people are living in constant stress, because they can feed off of that.
It's a winners and losers thing.
Right near the bypass now. They haven't put a footpath on this bit of road. There's a bus stop over the road. There's no path to it. You've got to kind of cross over the road, but here I've got to be really careful with the dogs, so they don't break free and run on the road. It's a busy road.
Be careful. We don't
Hopefully, the council will put a path there.
Well, I tell you what, right? You were talking before, and you mentioned Rob gratefully putting his arts and skills to the test, and he's gonna finish off, complete this picture, and he's gonna put it up for a raffle or an auction or whatever, basically to raise funds for Children's Matter.news and all the legal complications that are coming up. He got me thinking, right? Yesterday, you know what? I'm going to think to myself what I can get on. Now, at the moment, all I could think of right now, without digging around too much, is if anyone's interested in DJing, I've just purchased a brand new controller. The thing is, the dog's gonads, really is, right? But it now means that the one I had previous, I don't really need anymore. Now I can look at it, see the value of it initially brand new is something like 250, 260 quid. It's not going to be worth that because it's not brand new. It's not boxed. People will have to get a Serato program installed on their computer, and they will have to have a decent computer in order to use this system as well. But it is a fun system that you can, if you're looking at making that transition from turntables to digital music or audio files, it is probably the best fun you will have DJing and mixing. You can loop, you can do all types of things, add effects, echo. It's a real good piece of unit if you know what you're doing. So to cut a long story short, I'm going to donate that. I'm going to look up what is it. I think it was worth about 260, 270 brand new. So I don't know. It's up to people. same as with Rob. I don't know the value. I don't know what to quite say, whether it's best to go for an auction or raffle tickets. But I'm just letting people know I'm prepared to donate that if anyone's interested. Because I know when I bought little bits of equipment and I've let people know on Facebook, the odd individuals got in touch and said, "Oh, my son would love that." Oh, you know, and then it's basically sparked a little bit of interest with them. So there might be one or two people following this channel now that might be their direction. They might have a son that's banging to the music, you know, and that would be perfect. It's only a small unit, but it is semi-professional. The things you can do with it is immense. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of come on and say that. Rob's done the painting. I'll donate the controller. Then what I'll do,
brilliant, Phil.
what I'll do,
Yeah,
I'll check so for the next stream, people can see exactly what it is that I'm donating, because that might not mean anything to anyone without them visibly seeing it. So I'll make sure we have all that wrapped up for the next time we're on a stream talking about what we were talking about yesterday. Hey up, I can't hear her. Is that mine? I can't hear Sharon. Sharon, I don't know.
I said I don't think I've got anything worth raffling, but I'll have a look, see if we can dig something up.
Yeah, you know, see, the question of whatever, it might be nothing at all, Sharon, to be fair. But let's own it. What you're doing now is brilliant work to help others anyway. You know what I mean? Just because I've done that, it just don't feel the need that you've got it. If there's something there, then that's fine. And this could probably go out to other people as well. If other people, like we were saying before, Sharon, with donating to the cause if they can, there's no obligation. You know, all the content is free of charge. So it's not one of them sites where you have to pay a subscription. So it's literally if you can afford it. If you can't, then literally support the cause, share the videos, talk about Children's Matter.news, you know, get that out into the public psyche. But in terms of what you're doing, you know, we're actually making a real valid point alive here. And we're trying to invite other people in on it, which is going to be vital moving forward. Because listening, like you were starting off earlier, saying that you were speaking to someone, some lady who's got in touch with you. It's them engagements that are paramount with this. Because I don't want to keep coming on here just rattling on. You know, it's a question of, this is about the children. There'll be plenty of people there with no voice. So it's a question of inviting them. But, you know, with the donation part, if people can't afford it, people can share, or if anyone's got anything that they can donate to actually put in the pot. Could be something small, it could be something not so small, depends what it is. There's no obligation, you know? I mean, I don't know what you think about that as an idea, Sharon.
Yeah, it's a bit quieter now. I'm back in the woods. Come here. Let her off. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if I hadn't gone through the court case that I went through, I wouldn't have the contacts that I've got.
Yeah.
To like signpost people to. You know, there's a team of solicitors there that specialise in prosecuting the police. They know how they operate. They know the games they play. They've got a lot of years' experience of it. So, same as in this case, with the fundraiser for this, the people that you meet along the way that help you, they can be signposted for other people if they're willing to open that up to people, you know. And I would sing Ian Gould's praises for what he did for me. So, yeah, it's brilliant.
Well, moving forward, I mean, you can see that what we all know now is that we're all going to be much stronger if we truly work together.
Yeah.
you know. And I think the days of the individual YouTuber now just going about his business, yeah, okay, can't argue with that. Fair play to you for doing what you're doing. But we're seeing now that we are stronger when you work as a unit. You know, if we all put together and kind of do what we do and all use our initial skills, you know, we don't have to overlap with what we're doing. You come to the plate with your initial skill, put that skill to use. That can only make a group of people stronger rather than one individual trying to tick all the boxes at once. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And like you, I mean, I feel privileged, really. Maybe that's a bit of my doing as well, of what you attract. But I feel privileged that over the years, like you, I've met a lot of people within this movement that are full of shit that I wouldn't even, I'm sorry, I've got to say it, I wouldn't piss on if they were on fire because they're
Yeah.
bad people, they're nasty people, and they're almost as bad as the very thing that we're fighting. But
The
the one,
toxic.
yes,
They've fallen into the toxic trap, and that's not that's an energy that you don't want to be spreading around the people that are trying to make a difference.
counterproductive, Sharon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, as we learned in the early years, doing what we were doing, having faith in so many different organisations, so many people that were setting up things. What we soon realised that if it's not managed properly, and if you don't have the true ethics running all the way through it at every point all the time,
Yeah.
you can't let things slide. You can't let people say things and not address it. You've got to constantly manage it because if you don't, it's doomed to failure. And we've watched it so many times. So what I see with this, with us, is that we're people that not only get on, we're the type of people that won't shit on one another, Shannon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that is important in today's game with this now because, you know, there's a lot of people that might think there's some form of activists, but the bottom line is they don't even know what they're doing. They can't handle it the way they think they can handle it. And then when they come across severe problems, you look how they react. You look at the things that they say in the background. You look at the way they then ostracize other people. And we've seen it time and time again. So this is a collective that I'm proud to be in, that I know that we're all here on the same page. And we'll all help each other. And the people in the background are just as important as us, Sharon.
Yeah, absolutely. We've all got a part to play, and it's the ego that lets you down. You've got to shrink your ego to be in this sort of community because, I mean, if you think about it, right, what you were saying before about we've all got our skills, we've all got a role to play, and we're all different. And what they do, what the establishment do, they have all these different groups. They have education, they have health, they have social care, they have the police. And they have the run of the lot. Even the little private companies that get the referrals or get some funding from the council is also that they can have a say in how they run their businesses. So they have a finger in as many pies as possible, so they have control. They don't do it by all being under the same roof. They do it by looking like separate entities that all work together, and that's what we are, and that's what we need to be, instead of the ego getting in the way. Oh, she said this or he said that, or and my feelings are it. Well, I'm sorry, but it's time to man up and protect the future for your children and your grandchildren. And if you haven't got any, then somebody else is. You know, it's the time not. We've been driven down with the TV. We've been driven down a selfish, self-serving, narcissistic route. And people are all, I'm special because I'm got 72 names for my gender, and it's like, no, you're not, love. You just, that would be considered a mental health problem 30 years ago. But now they've made this country into an open asylum. You know, they made it an open prison, and then they decided that they let the mental health who should be in the asylum out, and all of us are restricted that can see right through them. But it is mental health problems when you start imagining that you can be a flaming unicorn. Come on, you know.
Sharon, are you trying to tell me I'm not a unicorn? Come
You
on,
can dress
Sharon.
up as a unicorn and you can play act as a unicorn, but at the end of the day, Phil, you're still a man.
Sharon, me unicorn, please. Please stop misappropriating me. I'm not into this. I didn't come on here for this. I'm a nice
Oh, I'm
little
hurting your
unicorn.
feelings.
You are. I'm proper triggering you off. Proper triggering. No, but I get what I get.
I've misrepresented you.
I know. I get you though. It's a facade, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I could live as a fluffy white rabbit if I wanted. And I'm sure there's some weirdo out there doing it who actually makes it seem logical. But the fact of the matter is, you're on this plane and we are where we're at. And it's not about conformity here, it's just about being real. And I get with the Marxism spike that they invite you to think like this. They're telling your kids, mixing up
Yeah.
all the mixed messages, with your kids and inviting them ideas. I mean, there's an article I've yet to finish off. What a lovely lady who reached out to me. She was following my DJ work years ago, and she just randomly reached out through a social media trying to find me, my DJ as a DJ. And I got talking to her. She's a lovely lady. It turns out she's a bit of a journalist.
All right.
She's been writing articles over the years. Now, she sent me an article that she's just completed, and I've not read it all yet because I've had so many different things going on at once, but I'm going to finish reading it tonight. And I might even, if she's up for it, invite her on so we could chat to her.
Yeah.
Basically, she comes across like left-leaning, very liberal, but she's still realistic as well. So she's not gone too that way.
I think we're all centre though, aren't we? We're not right or left. We're just centre.
Without a doubt. Well, what this lady talks about is that she knows people who've had gender changes, and it's quite acceptable in her world going on, and I get it in many levels. And she's saying basically I supported them vehemently because I could see the world was changing and going against people that wanted to acknowledge they wanted to be something different. So I get that. What she then goes on in the article is basically noting that the mental problems that come with people that are following down this path because they're being told that everything's all right to do it. I think she's already noted that one of her friends has committed suicide.
Yeah.
Because they've had to change, and psychological issues have, made it a real problem for that person. And I think that's not the person. That's the system that's telling the person that it's all right for you to do this, but they're not telling you of the mental consequences and the mental trauma that's going to come along with them doing that. I just found it.
I saw an interview with the guy. He was one of the first people to have a gender operation, right. And he explained. I mean, he's quite old now. I think he's in his 70s or something. He's dedicated his life to working with people who are confused or believe they're in the wrong body and things. And he said the majority of those people that he deals with have been abused, and they hate themselves, and they think if they change their body image or change gender or something, that things will be, they'll feel better. But what he said was, rather than realizing that they haven't, they hasn't solved the problem, a lot of them do commit suicide rather than change back. But what he said was, at 7 years old, a family member had said something and put him in a dress, made him wear this dress all day, and it really affected him psychologically. And then as I think 9-year-old, he was abused by his uncle, and so he had some confusion, but it affected his psyche. So he saw a psychologist who advised him that he should get sex change, and that would be the answer to his problems, which he realised it wasn't. So now he's dead. And it was head teachers talking about a 7-year-old that could choose to identify as a girl preferred girls' clothes. So he after the summer he'd started going to school in girls' clothes. But yeah, it's let them get through puberty first before you start allowing them to decide. But
yeah. What? Don't we do that with everyday life?
I know we're not letting them grow up. We're giving them options that really don't make sense because they're not allowed to choose the colour of the socks at school. They have to wear all the same. Yet they can have identify as whatever they want because it serves their agenda.
But then they can't have a cigarette, can't vote.
Yeah.
You can't give people ultimate responsibility and then tell them that they're not responsible in other ways. I've got some severe delay going on here. Right, let me just see if I can. I think I've brought myself in twice.
Just turn my Wi-Fi off because it cuts me off. I was just going up the garden, but I'll come in the shed. Come back. Have we lost Phil? I think he went out for a smoke. Yeah, we've lost him, have we? But he did say 10 minutes anyway, to be fair, and he is busy.
Sorry about that. I just had to leave the stream and come back in. Can you hear me okay?
Right. Yeah, now I can, yeah.
Oh, that's much better.
I'm back in my shed.
Oh, the man cave. Oh, man.
It's, yeah, have my picture on my wall from India. Hand painted.
Oh, nice one. You maybe get
and
a
my
rendition from Rob.
Up there, look.
Maybe Rob can do you a nice painting for that room, that space.
Yeah, that's another one that was from India. It's hand painted, quite symbolic with the bell and the red flag and everything.
Katie's into my shoes, Sharon. Look at that.
Is she?
The envy of the world. Look at this. Look at this. You know what I mean? Anyone says Phil's not a grafter, look, the shoes are telling you. Them shoes are tired, guys. You know what I mean? Never mind. Means to an end. So I'm here, and that's currently where I'm working. I'm at a place called Droylsden in Manchester, and yeah, just coming along, having a nice little breezy chat with Sharon Binks, one of my oldest activist mates. Even though we've just been separately doing our own thing over the years, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
But
I've just noticed my
talking. It's like, you know, we're on the same page, and it's like we always have been. You know, when I listen to you talk on the spirituality of how you feel and energy levels, it's just literally the way I see things, you know. And I'll tell you one thing though, Sharon. Over the years, have you found it difficult that when you come into a so-called movement like that, wanting to be lighter, not wanting to be outraged where it affects your vibrations?
No.
Have you? It's strange when you come into contact with many people that don't understand that, and they're outraged. And that's why they're out there, and there's nothing wrong with that because we're outraged. It's the way you handle the outrage. You know what I mean? And it's like, I've felt that people have turned away because it almost like, Phil, you know what we need to do here? We need to rip them all out of Downing Street. We need the amount of times that we've had that kind of aggressive attitude, and I get it for what is going around you, and I get incrementally why you're doing it because it's only getting worse as time goes on. But have you found that difficult to work with people that are like that really want to be more angry than you're prepared to be?
I think you have to get angry to get passionate about it, but you've got to change that anger into a passion to change things rather than destroy things. I know we have to destroy things in order to create something new. Everything has to break down before it can be rebuilt. And so I think turn that anger into something constructive. We need the anger to fight on, but we need it to be directed in a positive way that's going to bring change that can last, rather than, oh, let's kick down the gates of Parliament and drag everybody out. Well, then who's going to be in there? Who are you going to put in their place? You know, we can't even agree with each other on the street because there's so many egos and infiltrators that you know, we don't have that much control. All we can do is, I think, appeal to those people on an individual level, which means putting a note through the door. They're MPs, you know what I mean? They should be accessible. You put send them letter after letter to their home address, stating exactly what is wrong with what they're doing. When they're all voted, every Tory voted for mandatory in the care homes, right? Every one of them. So that's them towing the party line. That's not them thinking for themselves or whether they agree with it. They're doing what they're told. We don't need people like that. We need people in there that are going to stand up for us, stand up for what they actually believe in. And I hope that they're not all narcissistic and don't have any empathy. But if you start getting letters through your door telling you what a horrible person you are because of what you're doing, and the giving them example after example of how they've been taking part in genocide and murdering their old folk, then, you know, even with the kids in the schools, there's letters out there. I think that is it Bernicia? I saw a letter the other day where you don't have to just take it, and I think just go with what you believe is right, and don't, you know, people that are falling for it need to find some faith in something and in themselves, really, because
I think in themselves before anything else.
It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? Because they're taking it to stay alive.
Of course.
I saw a message the other day and somebody was saying how bad they'd been after they'd had the second one with what you're supposed to be getting protected from. And they still weren't right. They'd been really seriously ill, but thankfully they'd had it, so they weren't worse. Right.
So when you've got that logic, I had a kitchen fitter that I knew had it, and later on down the line, a few weeks later, I'd not seen him. He turned up in work, and apparently he'd been off because he had it. He had COVID. You know what I mean? He got it. Now, this is a man that's already been hit with the needle. So I said to him, and you already had the thing? And he goes, well, yeah. But his logic was, well, if I wouldn't have had it, it might have killed me, this. So it was almost like his way of justifying. He doesn't know what might have happened. Probably nothing may have happened. As we know with the recovery rate, as we know with the amount of people on a medical basis, that this really is a high-risk thing for. But yeah, it's been able to filter through people's heads that even people that are fit and healthy have got a severe risk for this. And it is certainly not the case. The figures tell you that. You know, so I'm seeing, apart from him, I'm seeing so many people that know it's wrong, Sharon.
Yeah, and there's people all the time seeing messages, people that they know that were fit and healthy and they've died in their sleep. Young kids, it's like, how are you going to live with yourself knowing that your child was healthy, and then all of a sudden you think, oh well, you know, I've taken their advice, and you lose your child? Are you willing to take that risk when you know it's not like, it's not rumour? There are cases where children are dying, and are you going to take that chance with your child's life, really? Even if there's a 1.5% chance of something, you know, somebody had to have their legs amputated because of it. Somebody else can't walk because of it.
I mean, the common sense logic would be, you know what? Before I take this evasive measure, I'm going to explore every other avenue. And I don't get why intelligent people are not doing that. Because we're talking about intelligent people that have made a decision here, trusting other governmental organizations when they know themselves that you cannot trust a governmental body any more than you can trust a bus traveling at 60 mile an hour while you're stood in front of it to stop on a fucking, sharply and not run you over. It's as done as done. But yet, the wave of propaganda has made people see that differently. They actually think that the government has got their best interest at heart. And that's what is perplexing when you're talking about a manner. We're not just talking about classes here. We're not just talking about certain levels of intellect, which they always try and proclaim. I mean, how many times have we heard this one? That because of the people that are fighting against this, these are the people that predominantly tried to be portrayed as low IQ, can't really understand the greater thing of what is actually going on. And and I know, when we go to marches, man, there's so many intelligent, articulate people there. They inspire me. Because I'm like, what the hell? I wish I could have put it like that. Man, you've got your argument in check. And these are just random people that we see at the marches time and time again. These are not wrong-uns. These are not conspiratorial people that have just got the wrong side of the fence and they're just creating havoc and trying to, create anarchy. No, they've got a genuine talking point. And these are the people that I love. This is why I've never walked away from all this stuff, because as much as you see a lot of people that are lost, a lot of people that are disseminating wrong information that's making it more difficult, which has always been the same when we first started as well. There was a lot of wave of people just sharing shit and not really knowing what it is, getting outraged and believing that the person that shared that information knows exactly what they were doing. Well, what if
I did the same? I fell into the trap myself. It's easy to fall into because you're so triggered by what's going on. I think the new wave of protesters, though, the freedom marches, the burning incense and the singing and the chat, they've got instruments and it's a completely different vibe than shouting on the street about the grooming gangs. However, we're all still trying to protect the children on whatever level. I don't care what's brought them out. I remember, I think the first interview I did with you, Phil, in the park at Sunderland, I was talking about the number 22 and it triggered that last night when you said it was your birthday, because I said the number 22 is going to be really prominent. It just keeps popping up. And you kind of see these magic numbers, if you like, that they use. Because
I'll tell you, Sharon, I'll tell you, right? Thank you for saying that. I remember us being on that park bench. That was a great interview. Numerology has always been big for me. But when I first joined the movement, I was very wary about talking about my spirituality and numerology. I very rarely mentioned it because I realized straight away that this wasn't a spiritual movement. There was not much spirituality there. They were angry. They were worried. They were concerned. So me coming in going, the 22, but as I said last night, that's what triggered me. It was my birthday. The number 22 is my favorite number. When I see, with numerology, anyone who looks around, they'll see that number shout at them all the time. Whatever number that might correlate with you, it might be a color as well. So there's something more. I can't totally understand it. I can't interpret it, but I see it. So when you're talking about that, there's just more to this, isn't there? And this is not Kumbaya. This is not John Lennon, peace and love. There is more to this.
Yeah. I know years ago when I met my husband, he would say to me, the number 38 keeps popping up. And then lo and behold, a film came out about, I think it was the number 37 though. But the number 38 was everywhere. And then that's when I started noticing certain numbers popping up all the time. I don't know how relevant it was, but it was like I say, when I was talking to you, it was the number 22. And then 10 minutes, my ass.
But you like him. I tell you what.
I know, yeah.
Look at him. He's turning out to be a fucking bit of a bore on the side here. All he's doing is he's giving us mental slaps all the time. Come on, Rob. Man needs.
Are we talking too long for you, Rob?
Don't deviate, Sharon. Whatever you do, he'll come out with a whip. He used to remind me back in the day, when you used to get the old, Palladium appearances. And there might be someone who'd come out on stage and they were absolutely whack and they were dying a death. And when that long ass cane used to come out with a hook on it, and that's what he's doing to us now mentally. It's like, come on, Come on.
Well, like you say, I can't see the comments. I saw that bit I can only see it when it pops up. When when it's put back on,
Yeah,
and I'm on my phone.
That's Katie putting it in. Cheers, Katie. So there's a bit of a collusion going on here. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's got to go. He's got to go. See you later, guys.
See you, Rob, mate.
Rob.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, I feel great now. 22 has always been a big number for me too, but yes. Well, you know what? I actually tapped in the number, so they're 2 words, the number, and then followed
it's
it.
It's 11:11 right now. We're talking about the 22, and it's the time is 11. Well, it was a second ago. It was 11:11.
I'm looking at 11. Oh, fuck's sake! This is mad. It's mad, and you know it's crazy because when you feel like this, you've got to be careful that you don't let it take over you as well, because it literally can batter your head if you're seeing it all over the place. Yes, mate. You know, and you can't really interpret it. You don't know fully what the meaning is, but you know it has some form of importance to you as well. So you can't let it lie, because that's being ignorant, being blinkered. Wow, it's fascinating, isn't it, Sharon?
Yeah, well, I said to you back then, I'm protected by the angels, because I'd lost my mum and I'd lost two of my best friends, and I always felt that they were watching over me after that. So I've learned an awful lot since then, and they were really prominent people in my life. I met them through work, and you meet people from the same soul group. You just know they're in your soul group. You connect with them on a level that's different to just getting to know somebody. And so these people have been a real influence in my life, and especially in the workplace. We're all teachers, but we're all students, is the thing to remember. And the other thing to remember is that the people that you trust in, the media coming across, the government, whatever, these are the same people that have been recorded saying they're, talking about their belief in depopulation. There's too many people here. They've got a depopulation plan. So on a logic side, why would people with a depopulation plan who fully believe in it, that we're all just cattle and to be gotten rid of, really, vermin? And so why would those people want to protect us? Why would they want to keep us alive when, it's
the technocratic mind is a very curious, intelligent, inquisitive, and probably very philosophical. But the one thing a technocrat is not is a fucking empath, because they will quite happily do all these experiments on people in order to satisfy their lust for what they think might come out of it. It's not like doing a drawing and let's see what it looks like when I've painted it. No, when you're talking about grabbing a human, sticking wires in him, doing this, that, and that to see if this will happen and see if that will happen, then that is not an empath by any means. And when you see governmental bodies that run more like technocrats and they've got that lack of emotion with what they're doing. I mean, the one thing that got me with this, that got me early on, if they truly were all about health and saving everybody, they will be coming out on a health and well-being, doing show after show, trying to mentally uplift people, trying to promote a better way of living in terms of diet, in terms of just health and prosperity in order to combat this. They've done the exact opposite, Sharon. They've tried to put so much fear that in itself will create illnesses, cancers, and all that. Never mind the risk of the COVID. Then compound that with the fact that now meeting people is a dirty word. Now your friends and peers actually think that is a good idea. That's going to compound your mental health, which will compound your health and well-being overall. So you think to yourself, do these people really like us? I'm all up for a natural depopulation, because you can't keep, but that happens. People sadly lose this plane. They go for all manner of reasons. They might have only just joined. They might be, have had a good innings. That is natural selection. You can't go round with a technocratic brain thinking these people over here should be reduced. They need to be. Put it this way, I haven't got it in me to ever make that decision on that. I would rather let the chips lie where they may, really. You know what I mean? And that's my stance on it. The heartless, they don't represent us. And
No.
even if some of them go into it thinking they do, look what they've got to deal with further up the chain. They don't give a shit. Not about the people. Otherwise, we wouldn't be living like this.
I think the people who aren't willing to sell their soul, who really believe they have a soul, because there's a lot of soulless people out there, but those with a soul that aren't willing to sell it, because at the end of the day, it comes down to money and the toxicity with the media, pushing the where there's blame, there's a claim, where you're suing everybody. I mean, health and safety is going. People can't even do their jobs effectively because of health and safety restrictions. They have people going around just spying on work sites to see if they're following health and safety. Well, they don't really care about your health and safety. They care about being sued. They care about can we make some money out of you, and that's all the court systems and everything's about, is making money. And when you live a simple life and you don't put value on it, you know it's a tool to get you through life, but you don't hold, it's not the be all. It's not what drives you. Then your soul's not for sale. Any amount of money, you will not do the wrong thing, because you've got to live with yourself. Once the money's spent, you still got to live with yourself. And I, for one, wouldn't want. I like waking up in the morning liking who I am, and that to me is worth more than any gold or any. I'd rather it be my last day on earth than have to sell my soul. Well, I wouldn't. I'd choose not to if it was the do or die situation. Because what's the point? It's. I believe, because of my belief system, and I think that we come here for a reason, and everything that I've experienced in my life has set me up for now. Then why would I be afraid of dying? It's like going home. I'm not afraid of it. So when you're not afraid of that, you're not afraid of anything, because you live your life. I'm not an adrenaline junkie. I won't jump off a cliff with wings or anything, but I will. I'd like to be braver than I actually am sometimes, but I do my best.
Well, that's the construct we're in. It makes us feel like that, though, isn't it? You know what I mean? I don't think we should be that fearful generally of people, but because of society, because the way people are steered to think and kind of be selfish in the way, we're all this materialistic, commercialized thing that we only want to get money and have a good life, and it means treading on people to get it, but that's the way the system is, so let's roll with it. We're not innately supposed to be like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just think we're massively went against the grain.
All right, you're cutting out a little bit there, Phil.
Supposed to be spirits. Who knows?
Lost you again.
You know what I mean? What our purpose is for? Probably getting deep. Oh my God, am I here? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. Yeah, I can now.
Right. Yeah, I guess, what's the purpose? What is our purpose? Our purpose ain't this. And it ain't what the government's telling us either. Living in this false construct that they want, that's lovely, tailored and geared for them making the money and us just perpetually fucking existing. So if we're all on the same plane, we've all come in here at one point, what are we here for? The time that we're here, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to leave my footprint? Do you want to just leave a massive, dirty, horrible footprint? I mean, that's what I contemplate. If I'm only here for 30 years, I want to have a psychological, spiritual impact with everyone I meet. And that's really what I kind of come to discover, probably in my late 20s. You know what I mean? I just want to have that situation where I want to be the best person I be with everyone that I encounter. Now, to say that happens all the time, I'd be telling you that I'm full of crap. But I aspire.
We've all got a dark side.
Well, yeah. But if you're trying to keep that dark side in check and not allowing yourself any excuses for showing that dark side, recheck yourself. You know, if I know I'd just verbally give it someone, they didn't need it, I might not see them again to ever say sorry, but I have got the obligation to go, man, I was fucking bang out of order there. I need to sort myself out because I can't be doing that. You know, I've
And
left that.
sometimes those interactions are to teach us that, aren't they? Because it's like when you're empathic, you feel you. Fair enough, the chimp comes out at times, and that's your emotions, your ego, whatever. The chimp reacts, and after, when you reflect it back in human brain, you might go, oh, shit, that wasn't good, and feel bad for it. But then you make a conscious effort to not have to feel like that anymore. I don't like feeling. I feel sick when I've done something wrong. It's like that nervous tummy feeling, like that anxious feeling, and I don't like it. So if I've done something wrong, I feel really bad about it. If I've upset somebody, I feel bad. I can chew myself for days over it. If there's a way I can amend it, I will. But if I can't, I just have to, kind of ease my conscience and make a rule not to do that again, or not to put myself in that situation, or,
Sharon, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we leave a heavy footprint. We might have an argument in the street and we walk away. You're never going to get the chance to make that right with that person, right? All you can do is reevaluate and think, right, next time I'm in that situation, I've seen how that was. I've seen the imprint I put on that person and the imprint they put on me. Do I want that? Do I need it? Do I want to instill that into my children to be like that? And same again, this is all, we're all learning. As much as I'll do this now, I could go out to some joiner who's just pissed me off, and I'm like, what the heck? And it's that easy. It is that easy. But then I'm going to come back here and go, man, I feel like crap. You know what I mean? Now he don't talk to me. Now we've got a vibe. Every time he looks at me, I'm looking down. I look at him and looking down. I think, man, we can't like everyone either. So I'm not saying love everyone.
It isn't about liking everybody, though, is it? It's about having a bit of respect for yourself, so you don't have to feel like shit after an altercation or whatever. Or every interaction you have with somebody is a lesson or an opportunity for a lesson. You're going to learn something from that person, even if you don't realise it at the time. And we don't always. We take for granted the fact that the words that come out of our mouths have a big impact on some people. And I've had people say to me that just one question I've asked them has made them reconsider their whole life. It's like words have power, and that I try to use them more wisely these days than just running off at the mouth, But
very wise.
But yeah,
you're like the oracle here, Sharon. Bleeding out. I feel like this is an episode of The Matrix. Have you got any fucking fairy cakes that you paid for me, or what? Any cookies?
We are the one. We're all the one, aren't we? That's the thing. We're all one. We're all one, having different experience. I see the Earth's plane as the training ground for the soul. I believe it will come back here to learn things, and if you sit in a cave and bury your head, you're missing an opportunity. If you can't see the lessons and the blessings, and you make yourself a victim, you're missing an opportunity. Because you get what you create. You can change you have to go beyond belief, and the magic only happens when you believe in the magic. And so when they say things I come out with now, if I'd have heard somebody saying 30 years ago, I'd have been like, oh, that person's a bit weird. You know what I mean? Yeah. But standing in who you believe you are and not being afraid to be who you are in front of everybody else is the freedom that we all seek. I think that when you care less about what other people think of you, because we've all got opinions, we'll all judge people in some way or other. But as I said before, I don't even know myself well enough to judge me, let alone bothering about what anybody else's judgment is of me, because they'll only see a fraction of me, and it depends how they see life is, to how they're going to see me or anybody else, and that's their right to do so. So I'm not going to waste any time on who likes me and who doesn't like me, but I do try to be respectful, even if I don't like somebody. It doesn't mean I have to be awful, you know.
Isn't it? Hold your own corner for who you are. And that's the other thing about being an activist. You don't realise how much you've got to hold your corner. You know what I mean? Because you're going to be tested. People are going to come up to you, going to question who you are. They're going to try and tell you who you are. People might have a perception of who you are by one video. They don't fucking know you. But yeah, they own you. You know what I mean? So you've got to literally own the space that you're in. One thing I went on a very interesting, like a day out, like a meeting gathering. Dolly Daydream, she was one of my subbers, and she reached out to me. Now, what I didn't realise is that Dolly literally lives about half a mile away from me, right? So she'd arranged this gathering. I think it was called like the Woke Show, and it was just at a lovely little quaint place, Stockport, in the town centre. Nice little meeting place, and a lot of like-minded people got together. There was nothing nefarious, nothing sinister. Really nice people. Some of them, you know, researching all different manner of things, but all of them waking up, but all being respectful, all being nice. It was a lovely day, even though Dolly got a lot of crap from a lot of trolling knobheads about all that stuff as well. But one thing, there was one guy there, right? And he blew me away. He was like a mystic, but he wasn't. You know what I mean? And he was like a proper spiritual guy that the way he addressed you, the way he spoke to you, you looked to the back of his head. You know what I'm saying? You looked deep into the what he was saying. And he was sounding so free when he was talking to me, because he was in the world of the promissory notes and, you know, all the banking system, how you can manipulate it, how you can get your mortgage paid, all that kind of stuff. Very interesting guy. And he was telling me the early beginnings of him feeling like that was him having no fear or hesitancy in him wanting to do that, having the confidence. And the one term that he said to me that stuck like a bloody slap in the face, he said, the universe opens up for you. And at first I'm like, yeah, I kind of get what you mean. But then I understood it as time was going on. If you have a lack of fear when you're moving forward with what you truly believe and you truly feel that you're righteous, you're doing it for the right reason. So it's not like a game plan for an ego-based person to use. This has to be true and honest. You try to do the right thing by you, your family, and what you perceive as humanity. I do truly believe that the universe, in many ways, opens up for you.
Absolutely.
So sounds crazy. And I say this, that I've been on many marches where I've been in, not confrontations, but, you know, police have wanted to push me on. I've been literally a minute away from being gripped. I always think to myself, why have I never been arrested yet? Not to say, aren't I great? Isn't it ironic that we're talking about this and last night? Remember last night, the videos that we were watching?
Yeah.
You got arrested. John got a Section 35. Joel got a Section 35. I walked away. I was the loudest person there.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that's the universe opening up to me, but I believe because I had an element of confidence in what I was all about, and there was an element of strength there, I was one of the lucky ones on that day that navigated that. And I think that there was a reason for that. That just wasn't me being a lucky git and walking away. I truly believe that you can generate an element of a force field with the confidence, the articulation, and the way you put yourself across in the argument, where puts the people that want to be that negative element against you on the back foot. Still don't mean that I'm going to end up in handcuffs or end up in the back of a van, because I'm not, you know what I mean? I don't know whether that's arrogant for me to even think that, Sharon, but that resonated with me when he said the universe opens up for you.
Absolutely, it does. And the things, you know, if I've sat meditating or something and I asked for signs, I mean, when Mum died, the lights were coming on that didn't work, hadn't worked for years. I was seeing orbs in the garden, and I was looking, and as I was approaching them disappearing, I'd step back and go back into the shadows, and they'd come back again, and like people might think I'm crazy, but I know what I saw, and it's little things like that synchronicities, serendipity, things like that. When you start believing, when you have faith, and you, as I said before, I surrendered to my circumstances, I surrendered to my situation, and thought, so be it. You know, if I end up with nothing, I've still got me, and I've still got my kids, and I didn't want to end up with nothing, obviously, but I was surrendered to it, and it didn't come to that. And I think your intention, as Rob said there, it's all about intent. Intention is everything. My work with the families, my intention was to pass on the skills that I'd learned that was helping me. And my intention was that to the family that I grew up in, I love my family, but my dad wasn't the nicest of people. So it's, and certain things that happen, but it's, if you can advise somebody, give them even one bit of advice that changes things for them to make their life a little bit better, then why not? If you can do, you know, that's all you have to do. If you can do it, do it. If you can't, you can't. But do what you can for other people, and it comes back to you in so many ways. And it's not like you're doing it for that reason, but you just find that when you become more of service to others than to self, when we're not so self-serving, when the ego shrinks, we've all got an ego, we need the ego. You know, I'm not saying I haven't got an ego, of course I have, but when you shrink the ego and you become more spiritual, you don't get fixed on those toxic emotions, jealousy, greed, you know, self-serving sort of deceptive emotion, you know, where you're doing people over to serve yourself, and that's the intention. You can't hide that intention from the spirit world, from the universe. You can hide it from other people who are gullible or vulnerable, but you can't hide who you are from. And so,
Sharon, are them cookies ready yet? What?
Then what?
Them cookies ready yet? What? We're in the fucking Matrix. You're just dropping pill after pill here. Oh my God. Can't even get my undercoating done. I'm like, I'm entering another spiritual realm here.
I go on for days.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying everything you're saying is weighted. It's weighted. And I'm hoping...
It's my own experience, Phil. It's my life. All I can talk about is my own experience. Hi, Joseph. How are you doing? I hope you're well. Yeah, all we can talk about is our experience. And I'm grateful that I've had so many. Obviously they weren't nice at the time, but I'm so glad that I've had so many different experiences that I've had to work through, that the adversity that I can be. Even at school, I had the attitude that, what are you going to do? I live with my dad. What you know, my dad's in my house. What are you going to do? I'm not scared of you, because
that was your.
Yeah, I just thought, well, you can't do any worse than what he does, so crack on. I'm not bothered. Yeah. And I think, you know, they were glad to see me not turn up for the classes, I think, half the time, because it was like, this don't make sense. Why are we learning this? Just a bad attitude, I guess. But it all serves a purpose. It all serves a purpose later on. You've just gotta learn to articulate and not just go bang, this is what I think.
Well, it's the understanding of what you're going through, and try, like you said before, a big part of it is internal. It's trying to work out what's going on with yourself. And, you know, the amount of people I know, I'll tell you this, that can't talk like this, Sharon, because they'll talk superficially all day long on the bullshit, on the program they just watched, on, you know, a certain outfit, whatever, some frivolous, superficial crap that means nothing. And
small talk, I call it. I can't do small talk.
Yeah, but they live and coexist around it. Like there's nothing more meaningful and deeper. And in many ways, I understand. But in many ways, what they're doing is failing to internalize on what they are, the potential of what they could be, and the best person they could be. That doesn't necessarily mean being a nice person. Spiritual and being a nice person are, for me, two different things, or at least
Yeah.
acknowledgement of other people's space and other people's energy and what they are about and their vulnerabilities, and probably mixing the empath into that as well. You know what I mean? So internalizing is key. Always looking at what you can do to be that better person. And if you
Yeah.
can instill or pass off something to somebody else that improves their day, makes them think about something in a more positive way, that is better than living this take, not even thinking
What
about.
legacy do you want to leave? What do you want to leave? What will your life, if your life is so precious to you, how do you want to leave? Because at the end of the day, all you're left with is memories. The people that eventually people won't remember you because everybody else has died off as well that knew you. But the people that you do leave behind, the legacy that you leave, when people do recall who you were, what do you want them to say? You know, I wrote a eulogy for my best friend and I wrote one for my mum, and it's like, what do I want people to say about me when I'm gone? Do you know what I want to make a difference? I want to stand for something. I want to be taking part in
They're going to say
making
they're
the
like
future better for my kids.
they're like Sharon, who makes the best bleeding cookies in Sunderland or Middlesbrough or the North East. She's dropping pills, and that's all she ever did until her last bleeding breath. And then pills have resonated with me, and it's made me the more empowered individual that I am today.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. With mine, it'll just say, there lies the Nazi who couldn't shut
No, look, Phil, you're loved by a nation, I assure you. People still ask me if I'm on the. Do you still see Phil?
Oh, bless him. This is the thing, the journey. We've met so many beautiful people, haven't we? And
Yeah, we have.
Central point where they're all concerned, whether it be on a personal level, whether it be for the family, whether it be for the nation. A lot of people, sometimes a lot say to me that they don't even look at it on a personal level. They just don't like the direction of the country, where it's taking them. And hindsight has made it a bit more critical in their mind, because they can just see how things have changed over the years, how the policing system in some cases has changed over the years. Now it's working against how the judiciary seems to work for some and not for all over the time. And, you've got the NHS and the way that's going. Everything seems to be getting privatized, and the working class man doesn't seem to have a voice or really a decent fucking wage nowadays. You know what I mean? So it's like there's so many issues that engage people, So when I'm there, like you, I have met hundreds and hundreds of people that say they could be my mate then. You know what I mean? If they live around the corner from me, I could really have a relationship with these people, connection.
Yeah.
And that's what kept me going. It wasn't an ego. It wasn't a, oh, this is great. Like I say, I come into this probably unparadigmal, didn't do politics. And I didn't look at it like that. Next thing you know, I'm far right. Like, what the? But yeah, because you told it me, the crazy thing was, when I went to marches, I'm seeing people that thought like me, not look like me, but acted and have got the same values and mindset. I'm thinking, so if I'm a Nazi, they're a bleeding Nazi. And this is where
I had to look up what far right actually meant, because left and right to me meant nothing until I started getting called far right, and I was like, well, what does that actually mean? And like you say, you're basically a Nazi, and I'm like, what? Oh,
you just know now that's always been a tool to keep you from actually having a voice. It's irrelevant of the talking point. And the crazy thing is the longevity of being an activist. I seen it all along because I knew it was inaccurate. But when I seen them start to apply it for freedom marches, that's when I knew they were full of it. Is that the mighty Great Brit? Yes, mate.
Yes.
I can't see what's written. My eyes are gone. But nice one, Dave. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, you know, it's a tactic then, rather than honest rebuttal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's false. It's disingenuous. And when you see the body of people that it affects, the body of people ain't a bunch of racists. These are body of people that are normal people that are psychologically getting beat down by the system doing this, which will have ramifications for them socially and all about. They've seen it because they felt a certain way. Even the friends might ostracize them and not wanting to know them anymore because they're too probably ignorant not to look at the whole story. They'd rather believe the narrative of the mainstream media that anyone thinks like that is a bleeding wrong. So yeah.
I know, yeah. I'm just saying hi to him and he's just saying good morning and that. So yeah, my kids, I would obviously go on about things. I was looking into the Clintons and everything else for a long time. I was looking at the FEMA camps. Me and my friends used to talk about the FEMA camps and all of the stuff that was going on there, the satanic stuff and all that before. And I actually, understanding how things worked and they're having all the power and the money and controlling everything. And I just thought, if Hillary Clinton gets in, that's it. That's the last nail in the coffin, really. And so when things started to change and people voted for Brexit, because I was thinking, yeah, you know, they've had this campaign. Cameron's had his little warning. His family finances are being exposed if he doesn't do the right thing. So he pushed the voting, the referendum to stay in the EU and whatever. And when people voted to come out, I just thought, with those two things, I think 2016, I thought there's actually a bit of hope here. And so I think that's when I started to notice more, and because of that, things started coming my way. I was picking up bits of information that I was like, I didn't know that. I didn't know, where's that come from? You know, like they just pop up. They just appear when you need them. Everything I seem to be thinking about, some bit of information would come in about it, and I'd be like, all right. And somebody even messaged me to say that I was a lady of great discernment. And I thought that was the nicest compliment. Because you do need to learn discernment when you're in this community, because there's so much misinformation put out there to make you look stupid. And if you can so easily fall for it because you want people to understand what's going on. But
Sharon, I don't know whether you can hear me, but your voice was coming through all like metalized then. I don't know whether that was just a signal, whether people got that. They might be hearing you normal, but it was like you were twisted through a vocoder or something like that. Then. Oh,
really?
Again, then, for a minute. Oh,
it's maybe. I don't know then. It's maybe the universe telling me it's time to go put the coffee pot on.
Well, that is mad. Still doing it. It's just suddenly kicked in. I take it my audio sounds okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right, it's gone back to normal now. My God, that battered me. It's like I was talking to a Dalek. It's like Sharon just manifested into a Dalek. Never mind a unicorn.
AI technology.
I twisted my melons. I thought I'm going to have to go here. I'm scared. You know what I mean?
I was just saying though, Phil, I think my coffee pot's calling anyway.
Okay. You get going.
4 mugs for the
rest. Been a lot longer than... Yes, thank you. Thank you for allowing me on here, and have a great day, guys. Whatever you get.
Yeah, voice is going on there as well now. So yeah, peace, love and light, everybody, and it's been great. Yeah. It was a bit longer than I anticipated when I come on this morning, but it must be your signal, Phil. Katie's saying.
Yeah, it's me. I'll get going. I've got a bad signal. We're in the street. Thank you very much for inviting me on, Sharon, and I'll probably speak to you on the next stream. Can't wait.
Yes. Peace, love, and light. See you later. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good week, everybody.
See you later, guys. Thanks a lot.